Hey guys, Andy Irwin here of the Irwin Brothers, one of the filmmakers behind the new movie I Can Only Imagine. And you're listening to On Faith's Edge with my good friend Joe Taylor.
You know, that piece that I thought I could go out and try to find on my own and all this stuff was not there. It was God that was missing.
Well, hello. Thanks, Andy Irwin, for the introduction. Along with his brother John, Andy directed the inspirational new movie I Can Only Imagine, based on the life of Bart Millard, singer-songwriter of the hit song. This is a fantastic movie. And as of this recording, in only 3 days, it's number 3 at the box office and has brought in over $17 million. Congratulations, guys. Go see this film, I Can Only Imagine. Welcome to the 98th episode of On Faith's Edge. My name is Joe Taylor, recovering atheist and your servant in Jesus Christ. This is your place to hear conversations about God and living a life of faith in Jesus Christ. If you want to contact me, I'm most active on Twitter at @4JoeTaylor. That's @4JoeTaylor, FORJOETAYLOR. Today, singer and actor Jesse Pruett joins us to talk about his new project, The Journey. Jesse is a great guy, and his experiences are something to talk about. I love bringing you engaging conversations about faith. If this show encourages you, entertains you, informs you, or brings value to you in any way whatsoever, will you consider financially backing the show? Many of you have asked how you can support the show, and I have a few things in the works. But for now, the best way is to use any Amazon link at onfaithsedge.com. We'll get a modest commission, but the purchase doesn't cost you a penny more. Jesse Pruett began his recording career shortly after graduating from high school as part of the punk band Gut Fiddle. In 2000, Jesse formed the popular touring and recording band Parker Theory, sharing the stage with artists such as Smash Mouth, Blink-182, Switchfoot, Jason Mraz, POD, One Republic, and many others in the likes of Fenway Park, Comcast Center, Boston City Hall, and the Paradise Rock Club. His music caused the film industry to take note of his talents, and he was casted and appeared in movies with Robert De Niro, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, Liam Hemsworth, Sylvester Stallone, John Cusack, and 6 film roles opposite Bruce Willis. Jesse is currently the worship pastor at Calvary Baptist Church in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, the 29th fastest growing church in America. His deeply personal second solo worship album, The Journey, is available now on Amazon.com. In our conversation, we'll talk about his work with the popular band Parker Theory, how he came to act alongside Bruce Willis, Sly Stallone, and Robert De Niro, his path away from God, and what brought him back. We'll explore the new solo project, The Journey, and I'll ask if he had to choose, would he pick music or acting? What does Robert De Niro, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Liam Hemsworth, Sly Stallone, and Bruce Willis all have in common?
Those are all people I've worked with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very cool. Tell us about your work with these guys.
Yeah, it's been incredible. About starting in 2009, a door opened for me to start acting, and started getting speaking roles. So then I became SAG and kind of just went from there. And a few weeks ago, finished my 20th film. I had a few films with Sylvester Stallone over the last few months, and another with Bruce Willis, and done 6 with him. That's been cool.
What projects have you been in with Bruce Willis?
A bunch, like The Prince and Vice. You can check everything out on IMDb.
Yeah. What roles do you typically play?
All different. You know, I've done a bad guy, I've done a cop, I've done detective, I've done, all different stuff.
How did Jesse Pruett make it there?
Yeah, so it's really the music, that had brought me to this point. After high school, after I graduated, started, playing music, got signed to a record label, tour, did the whole thing. And then that was more like the punk genre. So I was playing with bands like Blink-182 and that whole deal. Then I started this band Parker Theory about summer of 2000, and things just quickly started happening. And Steve from Smash Mouth, the singer, called me up and was like, "Hey man, I heard your music, would love to work with you." And then it kind of just went from there. we're out playing with bands like Switchfoot and Jason Mraz and, Smash Mouth and POD, and just somehow we fit in all that genre, I think because of the lyrics, Because of that, all that stuff that happened, somebody at Lionsgate that became a dear friend just loved the music. So I started licensing stuff to their films, and then it kind of went into that. So
it has to be almost surreal for you, man.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about. I was a kid, man, sleeping on floors and touring, and I didn't know what was going on after high school, to the point now of, being a worship pastor and an actor and still getting to write and create music.
Sure.
It's been a great journey.
Well, let's talk about the journey now. You are getting ready to release your second solo worship project, The Journey. You mentioned some really well-known bands, Switchfoot and Jason Mraz and so forth. What can Jesse Pruett fans expect from The Journey?
Yeah, this record's a little more different than like the Parker Theory stuff from before. But this record is really eclectic. It's got a lot of different feels musically, but lyrically, a lot of it is about my journey and faith in Christ, and so anywhere from, praising God to just where I'm at. One of the songs is called Even When, and it's like, I will praise you even in my weakness, and I will praise you even in the storm when all this stuff comes, just still giving God the praise through all that. And so there's all kinds of different songs on there. I even did one cover, I Saw the Light. I wrote an original bridge for it and kind of changed it up a little bit, but it's been exciting recording again. And
was Parker Theory more of a mainstream? Was that work more mainstream, or was that faith based?
More mainstream.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were signed to. I ended up licensing my records to labels. So that's what instead of just getting signed, I would record the records and then license them to labels. So I'd have a label in the U.S. and Japan and Brazil and Sweden. So we got to tour in Japan and put out like 3 records there, and that was amazing. But yeah, we were more in the mainstream. But because of my faith and the lyrics, we were able to cross over a little bit.
Sure.
So,
why did you go that direction, the licensing direction?
I didn't plan on it. It's just something that happened. We were getting shopped to all these labels and doing all the private showcasing and all that stuff. And we ended up not getting signed at that point. We thought we were going to get signed to Columbia and all this stuff. Anyways, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to move forward and record this record. And when I did, more stuff started happening. And, at that time we were charting on like mp3.com and all this stuff. I signed with this record label in Japan and just licensed them the record. And I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. Yeah. I like this idea. I still own all the rights to the songs, and it just kind of went from there. So I started doing that with everything. Fantastic. And now, which was great, worked out because then I could have all the rights to the songs still, and able to license and all that stuff. So,
in addition to your film work and your music career, you alluded to this before. You are the worship pastor at Calvary Baptist in Arizona.
Yeah.
Why is this work important to you? That you carve out time to do this in addition to your other projects.
Yeah. It's really where my heart's at right now. I love serving. I love getting to lead worship and doing ministry, because for me it's just so important, man, to take that time to worship, especially together as a body in a church, but learn together, break out into Bible studies, life groups, build relationships. But it really keeps me grounded too in my faith, to have that accountability and that team around me, so when I'm leaving to go do a movie or whatever that's going on, I really have a team, that's sending me off like, hey man, we're praying for you. And so it's been great. But all this stuff that I've done in my life, worship has been the most meaningful for me. And it's just so powerful when everybody comes together to praise God, so.
Your musical projects, your albums, your 2 solo projects, They are live, or they're live, or they're recorded?
Yeah, these are recorded.
Gotcha.
So nothing live.
Okay.
Yeah, all in the studio.
So have you thought about doing any kind of live work?
I have before. Actually, one of my Parker Theory records, I did a song that was just totally live, off the cuff, no click or anything like that, and that was really fun. But I haven't done anything like that since. But I would love to. That would be fun.
It's a lot of pressure, man.
It's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
If you had to pick one, eliminating the worship pastor role, okay? If you had to pick one, acting or music, where would you go?
Music.
Music.
It's just been in me since, I was a kid. So I love acting. No, music, man, that is super deep in me. So it's been a passion for so long.
You have a musical family? Do you come from a musical family?
My mom's a singer. She never put out records or anything, but I remember as a kid growing up watching her sing, and but that's pretty much it. Dad doesn't sing or play instruments. Mom didn't play instruments. My brother played piano, so we both kind of started at the same time. But
where are the talents of Jesse Pruett taking him next?
Yeah, so with the journey coming up, I'm putting a bit more focus on that. That'll be out March 9th. And after that, I've got a few more films coming up. One of the songs off the journey just got picked up for the new Lionsgate Pinocchio. So that was really cool. And then, just going to be, church, man. We've got all the Easter stuff coming up and, the record, and then, some film stuff. So
cool.
Yeah. I've got 3 films that I did that are coming out this year. So that'll be cool. The 2 with Sylvester Stallone and one with Bruce Willis.
What piece off the journey is most significant to you?
I think Even When. That's one of them. It just... I really like the idea, and when writing that after it came out, it was really some family that are close to me that I feel where it kind of came from. But I love the idea of just praising God through everything, no matter what, even in our hard times, And so that one really has a special place in my heart.
Let's hear a sampling of Even When by Jesse Pruett.
Even when fear surrounds me, even when all hope seems gone, even when I feel defeated, I will keep holding on. I will praise you even in my weakness. I will praise you through every storm that comes. Jesus, you give me endless love.
Jesse, how did you come to believe in Jesus Christ?
So I was raised as a Christian most of my life. My family were Christians, and so we went to church for the most part, most of the time. And, that's where I started music, was in church, in the youth band. And then after high school, when I started joined that punk band, we were off touring and stuff, and started drinking, started making some bad decisions. That's where I started to follow my own path. And after about 5 years, I still loved God, still, believed in God, but definitely was following my own path. After about 5 years, I was at a place of not a good place. And I was like, man, I really need to change. And so I decided to move back to San Diego. That's where I'm from and live most of my life. But I was in Lake Havasu actually at the time. My uncle invited me to church. And so I was like, yeah, man, I'll go. Walked into church, and immediately, as soon as the worship started, was just in tears. I was like, oh, Lord, this is what I need. I needed you. And this is what I've been missing. That piece that I thought I could go out and try to find on my own, and all this stuff was was not there. It was God that was missing. And so when I went back, I was just like, oh man, I want to go all in, And so I started going back to church and joining Bible studies and college groups and all this stuff. And it was a slow process, of making change and really rebuilding that relationship with Jesus, At that time is when I started Parker Theory. So it was an interesting time how my lyrics and my life started to change through that, It was a process and a lot of change, a lot of my own trying to understand, because growing up at home, it was like, okay, parents were telling me about God and, I believed and I really had, something in my heart that believed that. But it was different when it was me going out to find that relationship. And so it was good for me to start rebuilding that and understanding and learning. I still am. That was a part of my walk.
How long was your work with Parker Theory?
Did that for about 12 years.
Okay.
I haven't released anything recently, but I still do, some live shows here and there and still license stuff from that. But I haven't put out a new record because I'm focusing on the worship one.
So your time with Parker Theory and you were touring with these mainstream acts, how was your faith during that time?
Faith during that time was getting a lot stronger because I was back in church. So, I was making a lot of changes. So my decisions were a lot better from the band before that because I was going to church and I had accountability around me and was also playing with some great friends who were Christians as well, So that really helped a lot.
So you grew up as a Christian in a Christian home, but you did have, it sounds like you did have kind of your line in the sand moment.
Yep.
Where you said, no, God, I need you.
Yeah.
As a man, I need you. This is no longer my heritage.
Yeah.
This is the relationship.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a time where you doubted your faith or maybe even the existence of God?
Yeah, I don't know if I ever doubted the existence of God just because, I don't know, maybe it's the way my mind is, but I look around and see the universe and all these different things and I'm like, okay, something, there was a time I was like, all right, is Jesus real? I think that was during that time where I was like, hey, I need to find this faith on my own too. And I just came to the conclusion to the stuff I read and the history that I saw and then just my own personal relationship that, wow, dude, Jesus is real and I feel him with me. And, every time I pray or these different things that happen or maybe a few miracles that I've seen in my own life, I'm like, through that, I was able to find a relationship with Christ myself, and to see that he was real and is real.
Jesse, how important is transparency in a faith walk, in a believer's walk?
Yeah, I personally think it's super important. I think when we're transparent and we're able to just, be open about ourselves and even our struggles, I think that it does a few things. I think it releases that and gives us freedom when we give that to God and go, you know what, I'm struggling with this and I messed up, but I want to change that. So I think it brings that. I think it shows other people that, hey, nobody's perfect, but when we're able to bring that to God and ask for forgiveness and be able to have that transparency, I really feel like we'll get healing through that, and not only for ourselves, but for others.
You were pretty transparent with us. You talked about drinking and bad decisions and following your own path.
Yeah.
When you look back at that time, can you see times where when you look back, wow, God was with me there. Wow, God was with me there.
Yeah, I totally can. There's definitely more than a couple times I'm like, man, God had to be there with me through that. How did I get through that? And then just looking back too, like, man, why did I do that? What was I trying to get out of that? Because it brought me nothing good in the big picture of things. Maybe for a quick moment, I felt good, but honestly, past that, it was nothing good. It was just bringing destruction. we all have our stuff and we all go through things, but I think the key is recognizing that and then changing it, going, hey, I don't want to go back to that, or getting help when we need help, because we all need help sometimes,
Amen.
And so I really think that is important, to, when you're struggling with something, to reach out so somebody can help you, whether if it's addiction or depression or feel like suicidal, whatever it is you're going through, reach out to somebody so you can have people around you to surround you and pray for you and be with you and help you through that, walk you through that.
Finally, as we wrap up, Jesse, what would you say to that person that is right on faith's edge, making that choice to believe or not to believe in God?
Yeah, I would say go forward with believing and start, reading scripture and taking time to talk to God, because I really truly believe that if you do, you will see that God is real and that he loves you and that he will forgive you and that he wants a relationship with you. And, when you think about the eternal life with God, there's nothing greater than that. This life is just a moment, even if we live to be 120, it goes fast. So I think it's really important for, if you're searching or still looking, to take that time to build a relationship with Christ, and he will reveal and show you that he is real.
I don't think we can say anything more than that. Jesse Pruett, the project is called The Journey. Actor, musician, all-around great guy, and a really, really talented guy. Thanks for coming out, man.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, brother. Take care. Jesse's The Journey is available right now on Amazon. His website is jessepruett.com. That's JESSEPRUETT, jessepruett.com. And you can follow him on Twitter and Facebook. All of these links are in today's show notes at onfaithsedge.com/98. That's onfaithsedge.com/98. Well, that'll wrap up today's show. Thank you to Jesse Pruett for being with us, and thank you for listening. You mean a lot to me, and you mean a lot to this show. Remember, God is real. He loves you, and so do I. God bless.
Thank you for listening to On Faith's Edge. You can subscribe to the show via iTunes, Stitcher Internet Radio, or your favorite podcast app on Android, Apple, or Windows devices. To reach out to Joe or leave comments about the show, visit onfaithsedge.com. You're important to us, and we would love to hear from you.
We talked earlier about you've worked with Robert De Niro and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Liam Hemsworth, Sly Stallone, Bruce Willis, on various different projects. You've worked with Bruce Willis a lot.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, you get the sense that they have a faith foundation. Not overtly.
Yeah.
But somehow you get the sense that they do. Do you get that sense as well?
From some of the guys, for sure. And, I've, like Sylvester Stallone, I've watched a few interviews on him talking about God, and
yeah.
So sometimes you get that feeling that, hey, I think maybe they have some faith, that they're possibly a believer.
Right.
And but through that, it's relationship. It's the same for me. I want to start building a relationship and then sharing and finding out. So some of those guys, they might not share on set because they're there to just work until you get to know them, personally, and then you start talking about that stuff.
So did you, when you're in these situations, do you find opportunities to share your faith?
Yeah, it's in between. When you're on set, there's time where you just wait in a trailer, or you're walking around and hanging out with each other. Those are really the times that I feel like you build friendship and you're able to speak into that stuff. And there's been times I've been able to speak to a few different people about that, about our faith, or a few guys that were like, yeah, I'm not really sure if I believe, but I would love to hear your thoughts. And I'm like, yeah, let me tell you about my life, and I'd love to share with you. So definitely there's an opportunity for that sometimes.
Perfect.